George Lucas. You either love him or you hate him. But either way, we can't deny that he actually came up with a lot of the technology used in modern day filmmaking, as well as set the game for many filmmakers to come after him, to change the game, just as he did. Hey everyone, it's Ashton. Today's going to be a bit of a different video due to the fact that this is more of a homework assignment. Sorry. But I also found it interesting and felt that it needed to be shared. George Lucas. George Lucas is probably the man that you probably know most for this. Or this. But mainly this.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
No. That's not true.
George Lucas grew up in Modesto, California, which is only a hop, skip, and a jump from where I live. So, in a sense, to me, he symbolizes proof that anyone can come from anywhere, even the smallest part of California, in which no one really talks about when they talk about California, but it's okay, and make something of themselves and bring such amazing stories to life, which is something that I cherish deeply. George Lucas and his road to success was not easy by any means. He had gotten into a horrid car crash, so he couldn't really do certain things. Lucas tried to go into the Air Force. That didn't work. He got drafted to go into the Vietnam War. Didn't pass because he had diabetes. So all these things led back to him and his film school career and him following that passion. George Lucas started off with a film called THX 1138. Which would eventually set the basis for what he wanted for Star Wars, although it wasn't as much of a success as he had hoped. The movie came out in 1971 under George Lucas and Francis Coppola's very own production company called American Zoetrope. It didn't work out, and these two went their separate ways. Next, Lucas, though it was very hard to find, actually was able to get his next movie rolling, which was, as many know it, American Graffiti.
American Graffiti. Where were you in '62?
Grab that special one and jump into your candy-colored custom or your screaming machine, cruise downtown and catch American Graffiti.
He tried many different things, but that was really the one that stuck, and there was a lot of reasons why a lot of different companies didn't think it would work. But eventually he somehow convinced Fox to be able to let him do that. Thus forth, American Graffiti became a hit. And if that had never become a hit, there would have never been a road paved for Lucas to create Star Wars. Star Wars changed the game for filmmakers all around the world, and to this day and age. Lucas created Lucasfilms Ltd. To create his different worlds. Because of Star Wars, Lucas adapted different ways to make visual effects, and that is the most important part of this when we look through George Lucas's digital footprints. Because I will give you a hint, there are none. He does not have email, so he uses standard mail, or as many people now call it, snail mail. George Lucas does not have any social media. He does interviews, which you can find on YouTube, or if you just type in his name. But otherwise, you really don't get any updates on George Lucas unless you're looking for it. So how does he stay so influential and so important to people? He established a name for himself before the social media rise. What's interesting is, if it wasn't for Lucas, a lot of things we have in modern day technology before filmmaking wouldn't exist. The divisions under his department created Pixar, and THX Audio. So Disney ended up with that either way. Disney is the corporation that has kind of taken over Lucas's legacy. With Lucas's recent digital past, there's been some controversy due to the fact that when The Force Awakens came out in 2015, Lucas compared Disney to white slavers.
I'm very intimately involved in them, and obviously to
And
sell
you
them
sold
off.
them.
I sold them to the white slavers that take these things and
Okay, but
Yeah, that didn't go over well with a lot of people, and he was angry, and he continues to be angry.
Following an interview with Charlie Rose, George Lucas has apologized for comments he made regarding the new Star Wars franchise. The series creator admitted he wasn't a fan of the record-breaking The Force Awakens retro approach and likened Disney to white slavers. Lucas said in a statement, "I misspoke and used a very inappropriate analogy, and for that I apologize."
Another very popularly unhappy person with how Disney is treating Lucas's sci-fi baby is Mark Hamill himself, Luke Skywalker himself.
When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character. But, other than that, I can't really describe more, but it was as shocking to me to read what Ryan had written as I'm sure it will be for the audience.
it certainly surprised me to hear Luke say it's time for the Jedi to end. I said, what?
Yeah.
Luke was the most optimistic, hopeful character. And
Yes.
I had a real, sort of a back and forth with Ryan. I said, Ryan, a Jedi doesn't give up.
I'm just going to break in here and make sure that everybody out there realizes he is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
Mr. Modesty.
This is where things get dicey because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Lucas ruined the prequel trilogy, so why wouldn't he have ruined this? Well, first of all, Lucas did make a lot of executive decisions in the prequel trilogy because he, compared to everyone else, knows the universe 10 times better than everyone else does. But here's the thing. We wouldn't have Star Wars to begin with if it wasn't for him, if he hadn't taken the risk despite everyone advising him not to. George Lucas took risks until the end, but he got tired of Star Wars and the constant demand that everyone had for it. Can you blame him?
But I knew there's 3 more stories, and I knew that was going to probably take, to do it right would take about 10 years. And I said, I'm 70. I don't know whether I'll be here when I'm 80. Every 10 years the odds get less. And so I said, and I'm not ready to do that because I want to do these other things. So I have to make the decision on my own that it's time for me to move on.
George Lucas is either known as one of the best creative filmmakers of all time or the worst. There is no in-between to people. And it depends on whether you're a Star Wars fan or you're not. It all just depends in general, because we come from all walks of life with all different beliefs and all different likes. There are so many valuable things that came from it. The acceleration of CGI and everything like that. Lucas is a visioneer. No matter what you say, he sets up his movies to be able to go into post-editing and be able to make the movie look good. Now, he did have a lot of hands-on in the editing process, but in general, he shot those films just like he would have shot the other ones, except with more technological capabilities. And that's the thing. George Lucas helped create this good and bad of the evil in the cinematic universe and the technological side of it all, he helped create that, so he feels responsible for that. He changed the capabilities. He put sci-fi on the map for the cinematic universe. That could be part of why he does not have any digital footprints, due to the fact that he does not have any social media or email. He doesn't have those things, but also why would he want them when he has so many people unconventionally stating that he ruined his own saga? Now fans are even more angry because Disney has screwed over the original characters with which they fell in love with, and also George Lucas's story. George Lucas had episodes 7, 8, and 9 written out, and Lucas entrusted these scripts with his predecessor, Catherine, I forgot her last name, sorry.
He is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
And she sold the company to Disney, in which from that point forward, Lucas obviously just only has ties via money, especially after calling Disney white slavers. But that causes a lot of controversy online, especially with the way he words things sometimes. It doesn't help when you add race into things. Star Wars to him, it was about telling a story. It wasn't about a quick money grab like it is for Disney. It's sad, but it's the truth. When you look online for George Lucas, things that pop up are mainly interviews with people that are either, I guess, hard copy or digital copy, or in video form. Either way, when George Lucas has such a controversial reputation, why would he want to open himself up to all of the slander that it could create? It's a catch-22 with social media, and that's the thing. For those of us that have grown up with it, we are able to realize that social media is an aspect that can aid the everyday person. Love it or hate it, it's not going away anytime soon that we know of. And George Lucas is just one of many legendary people who don't have social media accounts because they feel like it gets in between everything and that it becomes unhealthy. And to a sense that is true. But there are different things that Lucas could do if he did have social media, such as YouTube or Instagram or etc. Ways to interact with his fans. His digital presence online is remembered through interviews and hard copy articles, which are digital copies at this point, and all other basic forms that we have been able to download onto the computer. George Lucas will be remembered for his movies and his story that gave hope to future filmmakers and many children, and creating a villain, though obvious, with his name that scared so many kids, and he created a piece of many people's childhood that they're never gonna get back because they love Star Wars so much. I love Disney so much because I grew up with it. I love Disneyland, and that was my family's happy place, and so it's my happy place, and that's how you grew up. And if you love Star Wars, if you really identify with something, and many people did identify with Leia and Luke and Han and their different characters, and that's part of what established Star Wars for many people, is the relatability to the characters. But that had to come from somewhere, and that came from Lucas. If I had to come up with one reason why Lucas should have social media, is to interact with the fans who actually care about you and who you've given hope to in their journey. I would like to personally say thank you to George Lucas for inspiring me with your worlds to create my own and figure out ways to bring them to life so other people can enjoy them as much as they enjoyed your Star Wars. It's part of his controversy online, part of his digital footprint. In the end, you decide. Should Lucas have social media? Should he not? Should he take the risk and jump into it and possibly make short films for YouTube or little things for YouTube, or just so he can interact with his loyal fans who have been with him since they were young? It's all up to you guys in the end. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you for walking through George Lucas's digital footprints with me, even though I can't say it was really much of his digital footprints because he doesn't have any. I don't know. How to survive in this day and age without digital footprints. And the truth to that is, if you do not have a social standing on the internet, then you do not exist in the public eye. It's just that. Lucas came at a time beforehand, much like Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton and all these amazing filmmakers. They came at a time where it was conventional media and not social media. And so therefore, they were able to get lucky. Us nowadays, not so much. I hope you enjoyed taking this journey through George Lucas and his controversies, digital footprints, and why him not having a digital footprint is okay for him and he still makes money. It is what it is. He grew up at a different time. He became successful at a different time. Thanks for watching.